Well, hello guys and girls, and welcome to the channel. Feel free to stay a while, listen, learn and enjoy, I hope. But if you're feeling super kind at some point during the video, please smash that like and subscribe button, thank you. So from the recent Ubisoft Showcase, we were treated to a trailer of the new Avatar game. Initially a game, if I'm honest, I had no interest in playing. I mean, I really enjoyed the films and nothing else quite compares to the immersion of an Avatar movie. Even if I wish the story was slightly better and a little less predictable perhaps. Sadly though, with the big exception of Hogwarts Legacy of course, which was an amazing game, many of these movie to game adaptations don't always pan out so well. However, the trailer for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, which comes from the studio Massive Entertainment and Ubisoft, has surprised me quite a bit actually. So I'll just go over some of the key points of information that we know about so far, as well as my thoughts and impressions, and don't worry, I'll try to keep it as brief as possible to save you time. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments regarding any positives or negatives you're concerned about, and yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. So first and foremost, we do have a little wait ahead of us, as the game's set to arrive on December the 7th of this year, 2023. That is of course if the title doesn't get postponed, as seems to be the case with many games far too often. But I have a feeling this one will start to generate a lot of buzz and a lot of excitement in the meantime for a few different reasons. Firstly, it's an open world game. Secondly, the main story can be played with a friend. Everybody wants to play co-op these days, so why not include it in what could be one of the most highly anticipated open world RPGs coming this year. Thirdly, it's Avatar, one of the highest grossing franchises of all time, and boy does it look Avatar. The environments and visual effects are what got me hooked. I'm trying to get my head around the fact that soon I will be able to ride, run, hunt or even take flight in what looks to be a very impressive next-gen exploration of Pandora. The game will be set in a place called the Western Frontier, a part of Pandora we've never seen before. So your character, or avatar if you will, has been in cryo, been asleep for 15 years by your teachers for safety reasons after the humans captured you young and trained you in their ways. Whatever events unfold after is unknown, but somehow you awake as an adult Na'vi and have to reconnect with your people. Currently there is no more info on the size of the playable region, but from what was shown and discussed in interviews, we know that exploration and immersion have been taken very seriously. From stunningly gorgeous rivers and lakes, the open plains or deep dense jungles to the vast and beautiful vistas of the skies. Everything seems to have the quality of imitating a real ecosystem, a lived-in world. Ubisoft says that Frontiers of Pandora will allow us to explore a living and reactive world inhabited by unique creatures and new characters, where we'll be fighting to push back the formidable RDA forces that threaten it. RDA meaning the Resource Development Administration that you movie fans might be familiar with. And hey listen, I'm all for open world games that draw you in and make you never want to leave. That's why I love Red Dead Redemption 2 so much. That game has a world that seems to cycle and exist without you, almost like you're simply a guest that keeps making appearances to change the course of events. So what can we get up to in the Frontiers of Pandora? As was very much the theme of the films, you can communicate with and heal the wildlife. I mean, on the surface that doesn't sound like much information to dissect, but this will no doubt be a mechanic of map and area completion that hopefully won't turn into a chore. Rather, it will most certainly be conducive to improving your character development and abilities over time. One thing is for sure though, most of us will be very eager to rush out into the wild and bond with our first Banshee, so we can take flight amongst the majestic floating mountains and traverse the map in style. Hunting is also a part of the game. It will start as a rite of passage as you are introduced to the clans. It appears hunting and foraging for food may become something you can do for health benefits, or possibly there is a form of in-game currency it will affect. Either way, a Na'vi's gotta eat, right? It was however confirmed that you will be able to upgrade your gear and weapons based on special items found in the wild, or from completed RDA locations after the forest has grown back. There are a couple of different forms of transport available to us, and the ones we know for sure are the dire horses, which will make getting from A to B a little quicker, but while still on the ground you'll be able to find those collectibles and secrets, or simply just scavenge for any materials and loot the game has to offer. However, the Banshee, as I said before, may be our pride and joy out the time we spend in Pandora. My guess is that there could be different tiers of Banshees to bond with, and that the larger and more fierce beasts will require higher skills to tame. I really wish this to be the case, as I love good reward systems and incentives when I put hours into these games, and if I can strike terror into the hearts of my enemies from the skies with a dragon, then take my money now, I say. Otherwise, bonding with a Banshee has always been a coming-of-age ceremony in Pandora, and you can bet your blue skin it will be the same for us here. So let's talk about combat. We all have a bit of fighting, don't we? But the first thing that made me think, oh, wait a minute, this is pretty cool, was the perspective and size contrast between the Na'vi and humans. When we first see the Na'vi engage the RDA in their base, I'd almost forgotten that we get to fight these evil resource harvesting forces as 10-foot tall giants. Sure, they have mech suits and tanks, but when we do get a hold of the little bastards and ragdoll them, that's going to be the bulk of my satisfaction while playing. You start the game as a captured Na'vi, kidnapped from your clan to be trained in the human ways of war and ultimately assigned to fight against your own people. Because of this, you have knowledge and skill in both human and Na'vi warfare and weaponry. Although using their own equipment and weapons against them, such as machine guns and explosives, looks to be a lot of fun, I'm always a sucker for bow and arrow combat, which seems to dominate the choice of weapons here. This implies a stealthier style of play, and in such a dense habitat, I bet there will be plenty of ways to surprise and pounce on the enemy. Maybe even the possibility to ghost entire enemy locations without being seen would be a nice touch. Some of the airborne combat looked a tiny bit clunky and static at times, as I was hoping to see some crazy acrobatics while firing off arrows into the cockpit of a gunship. We haven't seen enough gameplay yet to critique it fairly, but we did see some dazzling flight manoeuvres on a Banshee while skimming the rivers and catching fish. Therefore, I do remain pretty optimistic overall about how this game is going to gel together and flow. I suppose if I was going to make another Red Dead 2 connection, it would be almost that I hope your bond with the mounts in the game is very similar to how Arthur treated his horse. You had to feed it, take care of it, and demonstrate enough movement with the horse to level up your riding proficiency and horse level itself. It would be nice to see something equating to that, almost giving us a responsibility that comes with the ownership of the beast. The decision to be able to play the game in first person really has my vote. Some games demand that extra level of immersion, and the Frontiers of Pandora gameplay footage shows off so many beautiful shots. If you're lucky enough to have a large monitor or maybe an ultra-wide with higher resolutions, then I can't imagine any other game right now coming close to the immersive experience this game potentially has to offer. There are parts in the trailer that show flight in the third person, so whether this means that the option to switch perspectives is only available when mounted, I have no idea. But for me at least, I'll only be playing in first person because I want the wilds of Pandora to wrap around my vision as I fly above the trees, gazing at the stunning waterfalls cascading off the cliffs of floating mountains. There will be an in-depth skill system, we are told, that we haven't been privy to yet. We don't know if it'll be a case of choosing your path and picking the skills to best suit your playstyle, or whether all skills will ultimately be unlockable. I imagine we can expect priority tree skill paths in stealth and aggression, but also the possibility of being able to lean towards harmony and nature to aid us, or even further using human tech against the enemy. So let's just hope there's enough variation to suit everyone. Maybe unrelated to the skill trees are the different factions you will encounter in the game, and potentially what these different factions offer. There was a clan described as healers with their own dark reasons to stay hidden. Sounds very mysterious, so perhaps we will get to uncover unique stories related to each clan and unlock rewards such as faction-based abilities that will help us navigate the world and ultimately destroy our enemy. So my thoughts and hopes based on the footage shown so far leave me in a place where I want so badly for this game to be extremely enjoyable to play. It doesn't have to have the longest story campaign or even have a completely new and groundbreaking feature. It just needs to feel fresh and exciting as we explore the world. I would honestly think that the most ambitious aspect of making an Avatar game would be the world building, and from what we see on the surface of the trailer so far is pretty impressive, I gotta say. In the meantime, we can only speculate how deep and complex the story elements will be and how much it will engage us. I remain hopeful and find myself, to be honest, less and less hyped by games these days, which is a good thing. This is probably why I don't feel as let down as so many people do when these big games comes out. I think it's far too easy to elevate something in your head to heights unattainable in reality. So let me know what you guys think from what we've seen so far, what you're looking forward to, what you feel like you have issues about in the game. And thanks for watching, and see you next time.
Don't let the Na'vi get in our way. Get rid of them.
And I have a choice to make. I choose to protect my home.